Hello everyone, and welcome to Windows Forensics here at Pentester Academy. In this video, we're going to continue our discussion of analyzing suspect executables. In particular, we're going to talk about something called a packer. So what's a packer? A packer is a program that essentially tries to compress a file and then wrap it with a small program that will unpack the file. So why would you do such a thing? Perhaps you have a program that is very large and you want to make it smaller on the disk. You might also want to make it load quicker. So if I have a program that is very big, I can either store the uncompressed program on my disk, which requires me to load the entirety of the program into memory off of the disk, which will take a while, or I can compress it. Now, if I compress it, I'm going to be trading the time that it takes to read something from the disk for computing time. So depending on the computer in which this program's being run, it could be slower or faster. So why do people use packers? Well, some malware authors will use packers in order to obfuscate their code, to make it a little bit less obvious what they're doing. So in a previous video, we had talked about how you can look at an executable and you can look at the header and see what it imports and exports, etc. So if I can't easily see those things, I might be dealing with a packed file. So how do you know that you have a packed file? Well, one clear indicator is a program that doesn't import much. So if you have a program that only imports a couple of things, in particular if it gets things like load library is used to load other libraries, or get process address, that might be an indicator. Now if you open up your program in a debugger and you don't see much, then it's probably packed. So there are a couple of ways to look at a file and say, yep, that file has been packed. So what do you do if the file has been packed? Are you done? Not necessarily. You can always try to unpack the file. Now, there are a few very popular packers out there, and by far one of the most popular is called UPX, the Ultimate Packer for Executables. So if you do a Google search for UPX Unpacker, you will probably land on this SourceForge page, and from here you can download UPX. UPX is a favorite. It supports a lot of different formats. You can see here it supports Linux, it supports DOS, it even supports Mac and Windows as well. So it is widely used for that reason. So you can go ahead and download this file if you want. You might also check and say, is it in my repositories? And sure enough, you see UPX UCL. And when I get a help screen, it will tell me a little bit more about how to use this utility. Now, this is not the only packer in the world, but it is by far one of the most common. So I've gone ahead and packed my file. And let's re-examine this file with PE Browser. Now notice that I'm importing an awful lot less stuff. Another clear indicator. When I look at my sections, notice my sections are now UPX0 and UPX1. So my text sections have gone away. So this one is pretty easy. If you just look at it in PE browser, you're going to say, sure enough, this guy has been packed, and it's been packed with the most common browser, UPX. So how can you deal with this? Well, I can use UPX to unpack. So how do I unpack? I use the -D to decompress the file. So I'll say UPX-D, notepad, and now it's unpacked the file. If I go back to PE browser, reopen the file, and now I have all of my imports back, and I have my sections back. So that is how you can detect a packed binary. Now, just because it's packed doesn't necessarily mean that it's malicious. Somebody could have packed it for some other reasons. So far, we've been able to look at a file and make some preliminary determinations, and we haven't actually had to start digging through the assembly code in the file or anything just yet. So we'll dig down a little deeper in some future videos, but that's all for this video. As always, if you're enjoying these videos here at Pentester Academy, please tell a friend. We'll see you soon.